Beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Wild.
Hi, Zay. So good to be with you today.
It is awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for doing this with me. It's awesome to be live here in ZayNYC. So, as it does say, we are officially live. I'm just going to take a couple of moments and uh, just share out reminders to the invitees, and we can go from there.
Hi, Lorna. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you. Yeah, so here we are, Samhain time. The veils are so thin, and Zay and I are delighted to come together here and offer a taste of some really potent medicine called the 0 point of stillness, the place where duality comes to rest, where we can learn to find the purity within the polarity that is the human experience. And we are so, so delighted to share this space as we step into co-created mystery, channeling whatever moves through us, whatever's being requested. The map for our event today is going to be first diving into a co-created meditative space. Then we'll open up the floor to a conversation, to take questions, to do personalized readings for those we feel drawn to. And then we'll complete with a channeled transmission to close up the experience. So we hope that you're able to create some space to take in this full offering, and that you walk away feeling within you a sense of peace and flow and reciprocity with your environment.
Yes, I love that. Peace and flow and reciprocity. This idea of balance, this whole exchange, which is what we're exploring today, the 0 point, and if you wanted to visualize it, right, and we were just mentioning this before the live, you can imagine the infinity loop, right? And that 0 point is right in the center between the in and out, between the inhale and the exhale, and between life and death, and between all of these polaristic perspectives, right? But right there in the center is that beautiful stillness and 0 point where we are in the most of our power, especially here in this physical experience where we have access to both realms, to all dimensions, to the infinite through this one finite point, right? And that's that beauty and that symmetry. What does the 0 point represents? And that's where we're looking to go today, into that still place that we can empower ourselves, and we can actually begin to make use of our ability to connect, our ability to access it all, to that potentiality within the self.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, and as we tune into that, knowing that that is the most potent and powerful place your soul can reside. It's the place where you are the most response able, where you're moving through life not from a place of triggered or reactive, but from a place of neutrality.
Yes. Yes, yes, I love that neutrality. So, hi, Allison. Hey, Vaishu, beautiful to see you all. So, just to take a moment, I guess maybe we should introduce ourselves while a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. So I guess I'll start since I brought up the suggestion. Well, it's your boy Zay-P, Zay-P the I am. I am that I am, as you are that you are, for we are all that we are. Which basically means that I am that I am, as is written, source has said in the past, and in my own experience through my own awakening, I found to be one of my most empowered states, and I found to be one of my most balanced and connected states that allows me to access and maintain my connection with the divine, with spirit, and through that I'm able to do this work, right? And so obviously I'm trained in various methodologies. I'm an ordained minister, I'm a Reiki master, I'm a pranic breath work practitioner, general energy healer, oracle and tarot reader. I do many different things, but ultimately I am just here to be of service to you all, to help you all discover these same beautiful abilities that reside within you. So that is a little bit about me, and I will turn it over to this beautiful soul, Wildly.
Thank
Wow.
you, Zay. Thank you. Just a reminder for those of you who are new to using StreamYard, please give them permission if you would like us to know who you are so we can respond. And then as far as who I am, my name is Wildly, and my medicine is helping people to tune back into their own texture of wild within. So removing the layers and the veils that have been programmed into us through our lived experiences so that we can come back to our own innocence and wonder at being huge psycho-spiritual beings in these teeny tiny little animal bodies. I do this through tarot, Reiki, tuning fork work, sound medicine, and all of my witchy ways. And I've been doing it for about 27 years, and I consider my life to be a prayer in service.
Yeah, beautiful. Walking example. So thank you, Wild, again for joining me. And thank you all for joining us, for showing up for yourselves, and just being part of this experience in this collective energy where we're going to create this space and dive into this balanced still point and explore what it is to align with the divine. Because that rhymed. Hi, Kaylee. Welcome. Hi, Sarah.
Beautiful.
Unfortunately, Sarah says that StreamYard doesn't allow her, but that is her there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. So grateful to have you all here. So grateful. If you can't tell, Zay and I are both feeling this like delicious energy moving through us as we stepped together before we went live. So we're going to do our best to channel this and transmit it to you so that we can come into a resonant field together. So if you feel ready, Zay, shall we step into our meditation?
Yes. And I have to admit, I have been looking for this for quite a while. It is a Monday, as I'm sure many of you know. And so sometimes we can get caught up in our day-to-day rigmarole. And so even as I was starting to rush and get a little frenetic in my energy as the day was winding down and was coming to this event, Spirit just came to me and was telling me to relax and to fall into that stillness, fall into that ease and flow of your life, as opposed to being so caught up in the rat race. And so super excited to just say, okay, wait, this is my opportunity to slow down and take a pause and take a moment and connect. And that is always a gift. So while I'm absolutely ready to get started with this aspect of our journey tonight.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes, and Mystical, thank you for sharing out. If anybody else is able to share out, I know we are currently in a group setting, so you may not be able to share out, or maybe an individual basis, but please feel free. The more, the merrier. This is a communal experience, and we thank you for your presence. So to begin, I'm just going to hit the gong a couple of times. We'll clear out the energy. Start off with a few deep breaths, a few deep audible breaths. You can allow yourselves to follow along if you'd like. But this is just a moment to engage in some relaxation. Let yourself slow down from the day or wherever you're at in your day and begin to connect. So try to relax, be at flow and ease in this process. And just taking a moment to connect or reconnect with the body, with your physical vessel, with your temple. Just allowing yourselves to settle into the body, to begin to sink down towards the earth, allowing yourselves and your energy to settle with Gaia and the earth. And just relaxing into this moment.
Beginning to feel the roots of your feet as they are connecting to the earth beneath you. Remembering and trusting that you are a part of the Gaia grid. And that you belong.
As you sink into the earth, allowing yourself to ground into Gaia, into this Gaia grid, remind yourself how Gaia is the ultimate womb, the ultimate mother. Where else would you belong than within your mother's bosom? Allow yourself to sink and rest in your mother's supportive arms. Feel the weight release from your shoulders as you know the Divine Mother carries you through your days.
And from this deep, deep well of nourishment, really taking in the softness and relaxation that is your birthright. The birthright of belonging. The birthright of knowing your place in space and time. As you lean in to the trust that comes from within the still point.
Now, remaining grounded, take note how It is from this space, grounded and rooted into the earth, that you have access to the all. Your limbs are growing, ever stretching towards greater and greater versions of yourself, but always rooted and present in the here now moment. And it is in that space, grounded in Gaia, here now moment, reaching always upward, that you find yourself in the 0 point, the stillness between all dimensions.
And it is in this still point, your place in the quantum field, your unique frequency, exactly as you are. It is in this place that you can truly relax and rest.
If you feel into your body, into the space that we sit, I want you to notice the ease in which it took for us to get here. How there was no need to strain to get to a place of peace. There is no need to struggle to become relaxed. Finding your still point is as easy as taking a breath. In this quiet space, you can hear the divine. Nakira wata yaranuai akwai hai.
And it is from this power place, this still point within, that we begin to master reciprocity. We begin to recognize how our frequency affects the whole, and that by stepping into our 0 point as often as possible, we are then being of service to the whole.
I feel called to remind all, just as circumstances of life ebb and flow around you, just as fire trucks and ambulances pass beyond my window, these are just stimuli to allow you the opportunity to return to this still place. Whenever you feel off your center, there's always an opportunity to take a breath, to find your peace, and to return to this empowered space. In this peace, in this here now moment, in the stillness is the divine.
Yes, it is from this point in the 0 point that all experiences simply become experience, where we can discern that it is simply preferred or not preferred. There is no good or bad, or right or wrong, when we stand within the 0 point. There just is.
And breathing into the heart space, the space of compassion and love. It is here we can find temperance from the doings of life around you, for the self, for your own peace. For there will always be ups and downs. And there will always be triggers, good and bad. But it's in the still place, in this balanced place, tempering the bad balancing out the good, where we can be open to experience it all without being swayed by it. Finding your peace and your stillness within always brings you back to your power center. For it takes great power and great understanding, great patience, great love to simply be and let be and experience it all without objection.
This is what is meant when we say sovereignty. Taking your power from within and using it to choose where you become activated, what you choose to allow to move you. It is within the 0 point that you reclaim your sovereign space from which no one can take from you.
Choice. Anatoya waria tuku hai naroi. You are always at choice. Whether it is choosing the circumstances that happen around you, or whether it is choosing how you react to the circumstances around you, you are always at choice. And you can see that when you are still. Balanced, at peace.
And it is patience that is the key to unlocking the gateway of the 0 point. Sonatakaya shonotoku stula palatakaya shonikiyo sonokolustua suno stolatakaya shonisitiki lioto shulata kasana takashi.
Wow. Wow. I have no idea why that was so emotional, but I have tears coming down my eyes. So I do have to bring something up since we're coming out of that, and this message was coming through big time. and I'm not sure who needs to hear this, and probably all of the collective needs to hear this, but this theme of letting go of control, of wresting the need from control from your hands at times. The message comes that sometimes we drive ourselves crazy trying to have control over everything and trying to hold the reins of a runaway train or a runaway bull, I guess is the metaphor. But in that, we damage ourselves, we harm ourselves, although the goal is to help ourselves. There are times where it is important to be able to step back and to let go of control, to allow the natural flow of your life to guide you along your path. And sometimes this need for control can really be a destructive force in our lives. This can be one of the things that take us completely away from our power place, from our 0 point. And not to say that there's not times where control is appropriate, but for those of us, and I feel that there are those of us here who can resonate with the experience of harming ourselves by strangling situations, by holding on too tightly, by unintentionally hurting the ones we love. This is your moment. This is your message to feel into and recognize that you can be much more empowered in your own 0 point, allowing more, having more compassion and letting go of the need to control, that you may experience the other side of that infinite loop, which is the flow. Allowing more flow into our lives is going to be important for the times we're moving into. Collectively, we're moving out of a time where there was so much control, where it was all about so much control. And we're moving into a time where there's going to be a need for more flow with things. And so allow this to be your moment to trigger that change, to trigger that insight, and to begin to work with the ideas of flow and loosening control of all the things. That message was just coming up big time as we were coming out of that, and it just felt like I had to just speak on that. So thank you for the opportunity, Wild.
That's why we're here, my friend. That is why we're here.
Yes.
I was so also touched emotionally from that channeled meditation. I had not expected it to come to sovereignty and the quantum field in that way. And I felt myself expand my own understanding of that idea. So I'm excited to continue the conversation here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's so, I mean, that theme that we were talking about with the infinity sign and that balance point in the center place is this idea where this is the place where we have access to it all. And so these messages will kind of go into all the realms, it will, because we are pulling truth from all of these areas when you're just sitting. I mean, that's the place where the toric field is generated. So like the toric field is pulling from all directions. It's pulling from the top and the bottom and the left and the right. That light is curving all around. And so going into the quantum realm, and even coming from, the physical realm into the quantum realm. I think that even came up in the meditation, right? Where,
Mhm.
all of that. So it just makes sense that that is going to be present throughout all of this, where we'll be kind of going back and forth between the realms, I feel.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally. And I'm really appreciating right now, and this feels like a really potent topic to drop in, that for our human minds to really understand the breadth of our experience, we need that left and right and that up and down so that we can center ourselves in the 0 point. And I think a lot of our narrative tends to create division between
Mhm.
the polarities and put them against one another, as opposed to mentally constructing them as simply the two banks of a river, of the
Mhm.
flow of energy, and that they are both necessary in order to find that 0 point for each one of us during our lived experience.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that, because that brings me to the thought about the differences between preferences and judgments.
Mm, mm,
And the idea, like you said, there's so much in our culture that can be really divisive. And when I hear divisive, I also think destructive. Like these things co-align with each other, and divisive natures and destructive natures. Um, but the idea that, and I think the thought came up in my ego when we were going through the meditation, where I think I said something about, being at peace with it all, allowing it all. And I
mm,
think in the back of my head, I heard my ego go, "Uh-oh, wait a minute. I mean, there's horrendous stuff in the world. You can't be cool with it all. What you talking about, man?" and so, um, and so
mm,
this comes back up now, because what comes to me when I'm feeling into that idea is this: that there is a difference between preferences and judgments, and it is not this idea of we openly accept everything, right? We just, like, you know, you see the Holocaust and you just openly accept it. No, obviously, if you see something that is morally wrong, or anything like that to you, you have to take whatever action you feel appropriate. But it's this understanding that there's a difference between preference and judgment, where we judge everything to this in our society, to the point where our preferences have become warped. We've
mm,
started to believe our preferences to be judgments. That because I prefer this, if you prefer something else, you're wrong and you're bad. And that's when it becomes warped. And the idea is that you want to understand your preferences because they help define who you are, but not judge others in contrast to that. Simply honor yourself and be in that 0 point, that balance place. For the
mm.
others have their own value and have their own purpose, right? And although we can say, I don't agree with that, I don't align with that, maybe I even denounce that. There's a difference between this complete divisive idea where we judge everything and everything becomes destructive, and where we recognize these personal preferences may help inform how we express, but that is just us, and we can remain balanced and still be compassionate and open to at least seeing the other side of the spectrum,
Mm.
even if I can't go over there, to at least see it, to be open to possibly understanding it, right? Because that's how we learn, and then we can be more informed to move from there.
Well, and the truth is, we are all one, right? And
Mhm.
so for myself, it's getting to a place of recognizing that even if I don't prefer another person's actions or choices, if I was living in their skin with their karma and their trauma and whatever other obstacles or opportunities they've been gifted, I would probably make the same choices and same decisions because that is their path. And
Mhm.
so creating that mental space between my preferences for another's behavior while also simply just taking it back inward and coming back to that 0 point and focusing on what is my truth and living my vibration to its fullest extent is really the deepest and most efficient way to make the change in the world that you want to see, is by walking your talk, not by shaming another person for
Yes.
walking theirs.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Absolutely. Um, something you said triggered something, but then I was listening to the rest of it and I lost it. Uh, but yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, and I mean, you can see that in all sorts of themes of life. But like I used to say all the time, even before I got to this more spiritual place in my life, um, I got too much crap in my own life to judge anybody else. Like it's just a waste of energy anyway, right? So
Mm.
a
Mm.
lot of our energy gets wasted, dispensed in all these areas, trying to right everybody else's wrongs and fix and course correct everybody else's ships, especially when our own ships are off course, and especially when we have our own wrongs to right, so to speak. And so again, when we kind of, and this is not to advocate being self-absorbed, but when we kind of take our energy and direct it in more productive places, ideally healing ourselves, ideally course correcting our own ship, instead of judging others, instead of trying to change others and force that on others, we create like exponentially more change in the direction of our intention than we do by trying to force others into a mold that we think will be better for them
Mm.
without actually ever doing the work to address ourselves.
Yep. And this really is the message of the Aquarian age that we've stepped into. It's stepping into power with instead of power over paradigms.
Yes.
And this is the invitation that consciousness is giving us as a species on this planet. We are being offered the invitation to step into sovereignty and step out of the old ways of needing to be led by a hierarchy, and instead stepping into, I am my own hierarchy.
Mhm.
I am my 0 point in the quantum field. I manifest my life, and we are all doing that because it's actually the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And so it's just coming to a place of awareness that we're all doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
the more of us are demonstrating through our actions, the more we are lighting those sparks of ember, those lights for others to see and start to embody it in themselves. So
Mm.
this is how being in your own kind of 0 point and being in that place of alignment really creates rippling effects throughout the culture and collective, um,
Mm.
much faster than it could through our own egoic force, through that whole power over dynamic. We accomplish so much more with the power with dynamic, where I'm working on me, you're working on you. We're both shining a light that helps others to expose them to the ideas of working on themselves.
Yep. Yep. Mm. I just love riffing with you, Zay. It's so fun.
Yeah, so much beautiful stuff always comes forward. That's
Mm.
one of the things that I knew when we connected to collab on this, that it'd be a lot of powerful things to kind of bring forward to the collective. So
Yeah.
thank you again for all of this goodness, and to everybody who has dropped a love donation, we appreciate that. If you have shared out, we appreciate that. Just joining and spending this time, we appreciate you and your presence. Feel free to drop your comments and your thoughts to participate in this conversation. We want you to be part of it, and not just it being feeling like you're just listening to us, but we're here to answer questions. We're here to engage with you as well.
And we're also open to doing some spot readings with
Yes.
regard to the 0 point and duality and the coming together of opposites in your life. So if anyone is feeling a call to that as well, we are opening the floor. We'll continue to riff because we can go on for hours and hours.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you would like to ask something specific or have something pulled, we are available to support you.
Yes, please. So just let it be known in the comments. I'll pop it up on the chat and we will get on that as well.
I know that earlier, was it Lorna? I believe Allison said, I'm donating for Lorna. So I'm assuming that meant she wanted us to pull something for Lorna. Is that correct, Allison? I'm going to assume so. So at some point, we need to tune into Lorna.
Absolutely. We can even start with Lorna.
Okay, Lorna, are you still here? And do you have anything particular?
I do see it. Donating for Lorna Marshall. Beautiful. Thank you, Angela. We can talk, so. Sure, Ali. Yes, we will. We will definitely pull some information for you as well. Okay, so we are starting with Lorna.
Starting with Lorna.
And if anybody can either tag her or timestamp her just to let her know. I'm not sure if she's here yet, so.
Ooh. The first thing I'm receiving for Lorna is this cool sort of energy just on the right side of my body. It has like a blue texture to it. There's definitely the left side is feeling like it wants some attention, some tending to, some integration, some receiving. Yeah, I'm hearing allow yourself to receive because the reciprocity is not present. There's this giving that's occurring, but the reciprocity is not in equilibrium. And the card with that is higher perspective, really tuning in with your source connection, higher self, to figure out what is that reciprocity, what is that place for you where you're being nourished as much as you are nourishing those around you, because it just feels a little bit off in my body.
So I'm gonna actually piggyback on your message, Wilds, because I was actually gonna pull a card, but then Spirit started talking as you went through, so I just got an expansion on this idea of reciprocity with you, Lorna. So your guides are talking about reciprocity going both ways, being twofold, not going both ways, but being twofold. And in this sense, we come back to this idea is the 0 point again, the in and the out. And so this talks of allowing yourself to receive, right? But then also being open to ask for what you need or for what you want, right? And so it goes two ways with that, in the fact that both aspects can be difficult for people sometimes, right? It can be very difficult to speak up and say, I want this, or I would like that, or even I may deserve this, right? Not to say go be spoiled or be bratty, but this idea of just speaking your truth and acknowledging and speaking up for yourself as far as saying what it is that you need. And then also the idea of allowing ourselves to receive, and in the culture, a lot of times we are guided to give and we are guided to be selfless, and these are beautiful ideals. We want to maintain that, right? But at the same time, that give and take and that equanimous exchange, I hope I said that right, equanimous exchange, of also allowing yourself to receive, because Okay, so they're talking to me to tell you a little bit about my father, who is an elderly man, and he's recently been diagnosed with like Alzheimer's and other things of that nature. But he's always been this very willful, strong, independent, machismo man, right? Real macho guy. And like asking for help, forget about it. And let alone accepting help, receiving help, not my father, right? And so here he is now, this elderly man who needs a lot of help. And it's difficult for him to even accept it. It was difficult for him to even ask. The It got to the point where his loved ones, like myself and my siblings, we were not even aware of how progressive his conditions had got, because he was always this strong, willful, I don't want to talk about my problems. I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to allow myself to receive help, right? So I'd go over there and I'm like, what's going on? Let me do this. No, I got it. I'm going to get it later, whatever. Meanwhile, he's deteriorating, right? And so now he's in this place where he's almost helpless and he can't, life is forcing itself upon him in the sense that he has to allow himself to receive, right? But we shouldn't let ourselves get to this place where we are helpless and we have to be beat down by life in order to receive the support that is needed and is worthy of everybody, right? We are here as a collective and there's this oneness to it. And so if you're willing to give love and give support and help others, why should you refrain or resist receiving that as well, or even robbing another of the opportunity to benefit what it is to gift that to you, right? Just like you gift, when you give out holiday gifts, that amazing feeling you get from being the giver, which is totally different than when we were kids and it was all about getting. So allow yourself to receive. It is okay. It is needed. It's replenishing and it's also empowering, right? It's an empowering practice to allow yourself to receive, even more empowering to speak up for yourself. And so this is what the guides are talking about with this idea of reciprocity, of you needing to allow that, more of that for yourself, because I give that you want to give. Allow yourself to receive and bring it all into balance, so you're not always pouring from an empty cup.
Beautiful. Beautiful message. If you're here, Lorna, if you have any feedback, we would love to receive that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, Ali, absolutely, we'd love to do a reading for you. Angela, I also see you, so we will also pull for you. But yeah, I love how they brought back this theme of the it's almost like the seesaw. It's almost that that back and forth, and you can see it in the infinite loop, and you can see it in all of that. So it just comes back up, right? It's all about that here now, being present, giving, receiving, both sides of the pendulum. We are all of it, and so you get to experience all of it. Cut yourself off from any of it and you're having an incomplete experience, and your soul is not here for incomplete experience. Your soul is deserving of a complete experience. Allow yourselves the complete experience, and that is that for that ramp.
No, but it's so true. It's so true. It's just the stories in our mind that we create about the experiences that turn them into suffering.
Yes.
Or turn them into something that we don't prefer.
Absolutely.
See here. We have, I don't know if this is Sarah speaking about the story with your father.
Yeah, I see. She says she disagrees. Father with dementia, he had to go through that to walk through his fear and control issues. There are no accidents in our life journey, but it is very hard on the family. Oh no, I'm not saying that there was an accident, but I am saying that it took him to come to all of this in order to be able to even receive. And as he allowed himself to receive, that he could have maintained or had maybe even a higher quality of life towards the end, as opposed to this experience of him being so willful and on his own that, it maybe took longer than necessary to get him the help or services, But the entire experience is, I'm not, it's an experience. We're all learning from it and we're all growing from it, And so I hold compassion for that, and for myself and for my siblings and for my dad.
And hopefully next lifetime, his soul will have a much different experience around receiving and be willing to dive in a little more quickly and allow that reciprocity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Rita. I see. It shows up as Facebook user on the chat, Rita. Not in the Facebook chat, on the StreamYard.
Beautiful.
Yes. So, would you like to maybe pull or tap into Ali Gilchrist Miller?
Yeah, I just pulled some cards for her. I could begin if that feels good. So, Ali, for you, I was first drawn to my animal medicine deck, and you received Swan. See if I can get a reflection here. Swan is all about being able to cross over the veil, to be able to be in this world as well as the other world and move through them effortlessly and allow ourselves to bring visions back from that place. So I'm really getting this sensation as I tune in that as you are integrating the polarities in your life, as you are learning to step away from judgment and preferences and step further into the 0 point within yourself, it is activating this swan archetype for you. And that part of your medicine is actually being able to retrieve messages from the other side and bring them into this moment. And oftentimes, I'm sure you've heard the story of the ugly duckling, right? As swan people, they often take some time and have to go through some challenges in order to step into their fullest, most beautiful potential. So just reiterating for you, if you've walked some hard times, or if you have felt as though you didn't belong in your family of origin, or that you just don't belong around the people in your life at this moment, it's probably because you're making this transition and up-leveling your vibration and stepping into the new iteration of who you are. And I say this because you also received ascension. So right now, as you are integrating, as you are tuning into that 0 point, it is allowing your frequency to simply get cleaner and clearer, that you know more and more effortlessly exactly who you are and what your mission is on the planet at this time. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like my message is actually piggyback on that a little bit. So, Ali, I did pull a card for you, and the card that comes up for you is the Sun. And really, Spirit started talking to me about recognizing your light and recognizing where your true beauty comes from. And when we bring this idea to the stillness, to the 0 point, this is kind of almost inverting yourself in a sense, going from the external to the within. And the reason why I say that going from the external within is because this is all about you really recognizing that light, that internal sun, all that you are from within, from the depths of your soul, and not just topically and not just superficially or any level where you are perceived externally, because there are times where others may take you just on the surface, but for those that know, and for you yourself within, you know that well runs so much deeper than the surface facade. And it's a facade, because your truest beauty comes from within. This light, this sun, this internal sun that you are, that you have within you, it comes from it within and radiates outward. And that is where your true beauty and grace and power reside. And so this message is about never forgetting that, and not letting go of that, continuing to do the work of diving in deeper and exploring, because the sun is so much vaster and much more powerful and much more um just much more expansive than even you realize. You're really just starting to scratch the surface of your internal sun, and you're really just starting to come into exactly all of your beauty, all of your power, and where that's coming from. So please, please, please make sure you're doing the work to affirm that beauty that you have within, because that is the true source of your strength. Recognizing that the external beauty is just a complement to that, and it is not for others or anyone else to take lightly. And it's certainly not for you to ever get to the point of believing yourself to be limited to just that. There's so much more.
I'm
Beautiful.
so hot right now. I just really feel connected, and I feel like I'm being drawn to sign language, what you are saying, which is so amazing to me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, no, I felt that. I felt the work that you was doing with the light language, and I was just like, oh, that was taking me deeper into my message every time I saw you. It felt coordinated with my words as they were coming. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Harmony, welcome. Jared, thank you. We appreciate that generous donation.
So it looks like next we would have Angela Cox.
Yes, Angela. If you are still here, we will pull and connect and see what would like to come forward for you.
And also, if anyone just has any questions, if they don't necessarily want a reading, but they're very curious about this idea of the still point, of the purity within polarity, we are also open to riffing on topics as well. So please dive in any way that feels right to you. Would you like to start off first here with Angela?
Sure. Hey, Angela, thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, Angela. So the card that comes up for you is the middle world. Wow, it's getting really warm too. I have to put that down. My hand's getting warm. So the middle world is talking to me right now about stillness, the 0 point. We already had this guided meditation earlier, so I really want to invite you to tune into that maybe later after this live, so you can connect with that. There were some messages that came through Tree of Life that came through in that meditation that really apply to this idea of really grounding into the stillness, into your 0 point, into the here now moment. Beyond the messages that came in that meditation that apply heavily to you. So again, I'm encouraging you to go back and listen to it at the end of this. The message that's underlined, that's coming through, is this idea of your power being really grounding in your power into your physical experience. This is about taking all of your learnings, the esoteric teachings, all of those things from above, taking all of your experiences, you're playing around in the darker, denser energies, right? The negative things you've come up against in your life and the ways those have informed you and taught you, and the spiritual practices you take on now, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, this amalgamation of all of this information you've been collecting in all of these different realms, and it's time to start embodying it in the here, now, present moment experience. This is about bringing it all down to the earth and making it all practical for you. How do you apply that information? What does it mean for you in your day-to-day, everyday reality? Right? This is all about recognizing that all of these lessons, they're not just beautiful bedtime stories. This is information that helps you to guide and direct your life in the ways that you wish to grow. And so you have so much resources at your fingertip through the myriad of experiences you've had in these denser energies, whether it's been harsh realities of life and your spiritual explorations, this powerful connection and this beautiful seeking and curiosity that's within your soul innately has allowed you to kind of walk between realms and collect a lot of information. The invitation for you now in this here now moment is to bring it into your reality and start to think about, how do you apply these things in a way that's going to direct your life towards what you want to create. If you're looking for more balance, you're looking for more peace, start bringing down those lessons, these ideas, whether it's high vibrational thoughts of love, compassion, acceptance. If you're looking for more execution, how can you take action? How can you navigate through your everyday life? Start pulling for some of the denser experiences that you've had. This doesn't work for me. It doesn't work when I have cramps schedules. It works when I'm more in the flow. I'm more connected to spirit. Okay, now I can start to have a more practical approach to my life, because I know I don't function in a rat race well, but I do function when I'm at flow and at ease moving throughout my day. So now you have a more practical approach to start applying your spiritual knowledge and your denser earthly experiences into the everyday here now moment. That's the guidance for you, taking all that information and applying it here in this middle realm to the world that you're having. You're coming to, I also want to point out the numerology, which is a 36, which also is the 9. You're in the space of really completing these lessons. And so that's why the invitation now is for you to start integrating, grounding this into your reality, because you've learned a lot, you've experienced a lot in both realms. So that's why this 9 is the 9 of completion.
Beautiful one. Yes. And so, Angela, for you, I received Dare to Dream. And I want to really point out this card. It is a talons clutching a diamond. And it always reminds me that, reaching enlightenment or reaching our spiritual elevation is not this fluffy, light, sparkly thing. We have to go through the valley of the shadow of death. We have to move through the human experience, which involves killing things in order for us to live. It involves accepting that there is shadow with light and that it's there on purpose. And yet we dare to dream. We dare to allow ourselves to digest all of it and know that it's for a purpose, it's for a reason, and we get to be in charge of writing our own narrative, which then writes our experience, which manifests our life. And so this is where you are in your experience and in your elevation process, is coming to this space of simply accepting the stories of what was as the claw that is now clutching the diamond of your own soul and your own 0 point, that you have the capacity to step in to your sovereignty and claim it at any moment. It is possible for you. You simply have to pluck it and say, yes, this is me.
Love that.
I hope that that lands for you.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you, Melanie. So, Melanie, we will pull for you after we do Jared. We appreciate the generous donation. Thank you.
So we're at Jared now?
Yes, we are Jared, I believe.
Perfect.
And then Melanie J. Long. She doesn't show in the StreamYard chat. Shows us Facebook user, but that's who that is.
Gotcha. Okay, tuning into Jared.
Angela, thank you so much for just allowing us to tune into your energy and bring forward those messages. Jared says he's here.
Whew. So, Jared, the first thing I'm sensing is my solar plexus, and I'm really feeling this activation and upward release happening, a sensation of, an integration of your own personal power and your ability to claim. I don't like using the word masculine and feminine, but just claiming your electric from a place of compassion is what I'm feeling in my body. Here we go. Again, we have higher perspective, recognizing that on this plane, we name electric and magnetic or masculine and feminine, and we give it all of this language and all of these stories and all of these boxes that they have to fit into. But when we tune in to the higher perspective and recognize that it's all simply energy, it's all frequency, it's all vibration, and that vibration simply moves in different ways, and it's not good or bad or right or wrong, it simply is. And your energy, exactly the way that it moves, is exactly perfectly right just for you. And that there's no need to compare, there's no need to be questioning, there is simply allowance of what is and accepting what your solar plexus energy looks, feels, smells, and behaves like. And that it may be different from what culture suggests it should be. And fuck that. It's fine. I'm just hearing it's fine. Stand in who you are, stand in how you operate, and it is exactly just right for you.
I like that. So I feel like the card that I pulled actually taps into where you left off at. So I'm gonna start off with that, although I did get a bit of a message for you also, Jared. So but to piggyback on what Wild is saying, the card that came up for you is the mystical shaman. And this really talks all about you being this mystical shaman, although you don't know it, which is what I just heard. And this is coming to terms with your space in the space, knowing that you are what you are and you need not do in order for you to be. And the way that breaks down is that just as the acorn, and we had this live together where we used the acorn metaphor, so I know you can understand, but just as the acorn grows into the acorn tree and does what an acorn tree does, every season drops acorns, and in the fall drops leaves, etc. It does not need the consciousness to know that it's an acorn tree. It doesn't need to know that it's growing acorns and that it's going to do that, but it just does that in the simple being its authentic self. As you are being that which you are, never mind what anybody says you are, never mind what anybody says you should be, what you're supposed to be, all of these false ideologies. As you be that which you are is the mystical shaman. And that is the work that you are doing in your simple everyday life. And so this ties into the message that I received when we started this connection, and Spirit said to me, "What's your why?" And I know that's like a common thing they do in like a lot of self-development fields at this point, trying to figure out your why, but it has a lot of implications for you specifically, because what Spirit is telling me is that you are actually, in a very grounded real world sense, fed and charged by your why. It feeds directly into your emotional realm and directly into that masculine energy, that energy to take action, to do, to be that which you are. Having an understanding in the purity of your why are you doing the things you're doing? Because of my family, because of my loved ones. This is what I'm choosing to do. And simply doing that from that space is the most empowering thing you could be doing. So if you're having second doubts, or you're feeling like you need to be looking here or looking there, look to your why, because it is in your why that you are informed of how to be your most authentic self. And when you're being your most authentic self, you're doing the work of the mystical shaman. You're transmuting, you're breaking karmic cycles, you're healing the collective, you're healing yourself, you're healing your family, generational traumas. You're doing a lot simply by being. So look to your why to help inform, to help put that battery in your back when you're feeling lost, when you're feeling like you don't know whether you should invest in this or do that, because your why is always going to feed you and fuel you in the direction that you want to move in. Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you can feel that, Jared, but I'm feeling like this fire now move through my channel. It feels like there's been this intense opening up of the lower chakras and allowing that momentum and that energy to move upward towards the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Let that flame and that heat vent. Beautiful. Oh, Jared, you're so welcome, my friend.
Mm, mm, mm.
Hi, Veronica. Welcome. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for sharing. Mm.
Ah,
Yeah. A lot of heat came up in Jared's reading, and now it's starting to taper down.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
And we had Melanie, was that the name?
Yes, Melanie J. Long. Melanie, are you still here in the chat?
Oh, you're so welcome, Jared. Always a pleasure.
You are welcome, brother. Melanie, if you're still in the chat, just drop a comment and let us know. Otherwise, I will just tag you at this moment just so you can find your timestamp.
Mm.
Oh, thank you, Veronica. Veronica says that was an amazing reading for Jared. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Veronica. Hello, Stephanie. Lovely to have you here.
Hi,
Oh, and I think this is.
Stephanie. Yes, that is her.
Mm.
Okay, Melanie. Let's get into Melanie a little bit. Let me just clear my energy a little bit.
Mm.
Okay, Melanie.
Whew.
Okay, Melanie. Okay, Melanie. I'm getting a couple of different messages for you here, so I'm just gonna go. I'm starting off with this card that came up for you, and this is the Luminous Warrior. And really, this actually taps a little bit into the message that just came through with Jared about simply being in order to connect and tap into that ability, into this aspect of self, not ability. However, what else was coming through was there's a bit of a doubt and a fear and a disbelief with regards to you even possibly being some sort of luminous being or luminous warrior. Perhaps it sounds woo-woo to you. Perhaps it just something you put off on others where you see others and you can see like, oh, that's such a luminous being, but you kind of put it outside of yourself. Right. And so, okay, so now they're talking to me about mirrors and this idea of that which you see in others being a direct reflection of that which is within you. So what I hear is like there's this hope of the possibility that you may be this luminous warrior, but this putting it off. What they're saying is that this idea of you putting it off and this idea of hoping that it could maybe possibly be you, bridging that gap, recognizing that you're seeing that mirror reflection because it is, in fact, actually you. And the more you can come to terms with that, the more you can align these two together. This is about owning and accepting all that you are, removing a little bit of that disbelief to just allow yourself to be. When you allow yourself to just be and make the effort to be your best self in any given moment, you become validated in the luminous warrior that you are. Because that validation comes through in your life as you make the effort to be your best self. And being your best self doesn't mean being perfect, striving for perfection, driving yourself crazy. It simply means making the best choice you can at any given moment. Yesterday, I yelled at my son for something frivolous. Today, I hugged my son in spite of something frivolous. Today, I was my better self. The more we do that, the more we can start to see more of this luminous aspects of ourselves in these day-to-day moments. The more we become validated in whom we are. This is about taking the steps that allow you to validate yourself in this luminous warrior, that allow you to accept that side of yourself as legit, to actually embrace that side of yourself because you're no longer seeing it as outside of you, but you're recognizing that it is within you and that you are capable of embodying that. And yes, that brings us to a place where we're needing to be more accountable in our lives day to day, where it may take a little bit of effort to be our better selves. But in the effort, whether we fail, whether we hit that mark or not, we are always becoming more than we realize. And in that, you're validated in your own power. So this is about validating and appreciating, accepting and acknowledging yourself. And the more you can start to make that consistent effort, because I know how much you do to be a good person, to be a good soul. But this is about making that consistent effort to validate this luminous warrior in yourself, because you are. You really are. And there's no need to have a doubt about it. This is about coming closer to that so you can have and embody more of that power, more of that light, and share it with the world.
And I'm gonna piggyback that message because I also pulled warrior. Yeah, you can't make this up, people. So you received warrior combined here with butterfly. And so the way I am reading this, my friend, is that your warrior has been activated. And as I feel into my body, what I'm sensing is that a lot of energy is residing in my headspace and my feet are quite cold. So for you to really connect and activate with this warrior self, it's really important to drop the consciousness into the body, all the way down to the feet, to the root system. Really allow yourself to connect in with the Gaia grid, get your feet on earth, literally, if you are able to, if you have access to that. And just allow yourself to transform like the butterfly and become the conduit of energy that you are actually being invited to be. It's nothing more than simply saying, yes, I'm willing to run this energy through my channel, and then allowing it to run. And our culture tells us that everything operates from the brain down, and that is simply not true. Our bodies are actually wired in that toroidal field through our DNA to receive energy and inspiration and intuitive knowing, both from the crown as well as the root. And so in activating that root chakra in you and connecting even deeper into the planetary system that we are residing in, you will be able to activate and step out of the cocoon of butterfly and into your fully empowered warrior self. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to go through this process. It's uncomfortable to go into the cocoon and totally dissolve and reform ourselves. But the pleasure and the beauty that happens once we walk that path with patience is undeniable. And I totally can sense and see this in your future. It's just requiring a little upgrade, a little deeper connection into the physical container. Oh yeah, and I'm starting to feel some heat now really drop down into my body. Yeah, just being willing. Just being willing. There's nothing you have to do. When we become fully and authentically our frequency, it is simply being. There's nothing to add on the to-do list. There's nothing more that we have to pile into our very full human messy lives. It's simply saying yes. I hope that lands. Let me know how that feels.
Beautiful. She said her toes were hot.
Oh, good. Yeah. Keep following that heat. Keep following that flow.
Yeah. It actually felt kind of cleansing in the sense. I felt heat traveling through the body, like it was burning out things. So beautiful. Hi, Leonie. Hi, Stephanie. Beautiful. How are you feeling, Wild, after those messages?
I'm feeling plugged in.
I hear that. I hear that. Oh, you are so welcome. You are so welcome, Melanie.
Yeah. We're at about an hour and a half. How are you feeling, Zay? How's your energy?
I am okay. I am okay. I think we have one more person who requested if we could do a quick reading for her.
Okay.
Stephanie Charlotte, are you feeling up to doing one more?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie will pull for you briefly before we wrap this section up at least.
Yeah. And thank you so much to everyone who offered a love donation to us as healers. We so appreciate being honored and respected for our service on this planet. And speaking for myself, I wish I didn't have to operate in that world, but we do. And so it is so gratefully received and appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much appreciated.
Mm.
And you are welcome, Stephanie. Okay, let's see. Stephanie Charlotte.
Mm. Stephanie. I'm sensing here that this winter is really a time for you to move inward, to move into the cave and begin to pool your resources, really pull your energy back from external situations, external things. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a clearing now, even happening as I'm saying this for you. If you want to place your hand on your belly and I'm just really sensing a desire. It's stuck in my throat here of reclaiming your power. You received reclaim. And this is a card of really stepping into that sovereignty of the 0 point, of standing in our truth, even if it is different from our people, from our family of origin, from the common narrative, even if we don't yet know whom we align with. Reclamation is an inside job. It's an internal experience, and it's no one else's business when we step back into our power and take up space. And that's what my guide is telling me, is that you are being invited to take up space, but first, with Bear, you step back into the cave. You reclaim your own power and resources and allow yourself the space to just get really clear before you start perhaps severing relationships, severing jobs, whatever space needs to happen in order for you to step into this powerful place in your life. I hope that serves you.
Beautiful. And so I'm going to just piggyback on that yet again, because these things seem to just do that. So I really, what struck a chord to me and what Wild was saying was this idea of reclamation, the idea of reclaiming something almost, right? In this sense of picking something back up, something that empowers you, the empowerment, right? And the need for this hibernation period to really be able to go back in and do the work to reclaim that. And so it brings me back around to this entire topic, right? This whole 0 point of stillness and this whole theme of kind of finding that balancing point. And with that, sometimes there is the give and there is the take, there's the in and the out. And so with that, when you think of reclaiming anything, of picking up something, of taking hold of something, that often also requires a bit of a sacrifice, letting go of something, releasing something. And so the card that actually came up for you was the sacrifice card. And the message really is ties into this idea of the reclamation that Wild was talking about, is that in order for you to do that, in order for you to take up these newer aspects or these aspects of yourself that you may have forgotten, you may have lost, put down along the way for other things, it's going to require letting go of certain things. And this is where a theme, a message that came up for the collective earlier in this live, and I'm not sure if you were here for that, but if you can, I would suggest you tune back into the meditation we did. And right after, a message came through about lessening or loosening the need for control. And this theme of sacrifice very much feels tied into that. Sacrificing or letting go, particularly in the areas of control of certain things, other people, circumstances in your life. Sometimes we don't always have control of other things. And when we do, the idea of we're gripping our hands trying to control things, that we don't have the space any longer to reclaim anything, to pick up anything. And so this is about letting go of the O's, loosening the grip and the need for control so that we can receive and so that we can reclaim our power outside of false ideas like control. Because the idea of control gives us some sense of comfort in the sense that we feel that we have more of a guarantee, more of an insurance, we have more of an understanding of what's going on because we have control. But in reality, that control is illusory. We don't really have control of anything outside of ourselves. So when we can lessen the need for that and loosen our grip on those things, we allow ourselves to take hold of what we really do have control over, which is ourselves, and which is how we are being in a given moment. Now you can go within and do your work within to reclaim your own power, whether it being that stillness and that balance and your ability to navigate through your life with clarity. But in order to do that, it will require letting go of some of the things that you may have developed attachments to, things that no longer serve you, like the idea of control. Okay, and so with that, just bringing in the idea sacrifice, not necessarily giving up the things, anything that you really want, but just letting go a little bit. And the numerology also, I feel the need to point out, is 44, which comes to the 8, but the 8 being that infinite loop, the give and the take. You've experienced what it is to want to have the control over things, but now it is time to let go of that and come to the other side of the spectrum where you start to pick up more empowerment in being in that flow of life and allowing yourself to receive, allowing experiences of others, just being more present with what is, as opposed to present to the illusions of what you would like to be. So that is your message, Stephanie. I hope that lands with you. um, she says it resonates. Yes, so these messages, they tie in together, they feed into each other. And if anybody else is on the line and you've been kind of resonating, like I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. When we come into these communal spaces, a lot of these messages are for many in the community, many in this collective. As all of our energies have come together for this moment, there are going to be messages that resonate with more than one of you. And if it does, take what resonates because it was meant for you, and leave what doesn't. Beautiful. Thank you, Stephanie, for allowing us the opportunity to connect with your energy. I think we are done with the readings, at least for those who have requested.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good. I feel complete.
Yeah. Yeah,
You,
I would love to end with a prayer maybe, and
yes, that would be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to lead the prayer with us, for us?
I would love to. Yeah. Whomever is here, whether it's live or replay, know that you've been in this quantum field with us, that you've received the truth transmissions, that they will begin to unfold and ripple out into your life as long as you're willing to say yes. And from this place, just tuning into our bodies, our beautiful, precious channels that carry our soul spark and give us the opportunity to experience all that life has to offer. Just maybe giving your body a squeeze or some loving touch, reminding your spirit that we're in this together. Giving thanks and praise to this vessel, and then to the land beneath your feet, this beautiful earth that supports and carries us, that forgives us and loves us unconditionally. And allowing that deep unconditional love to ripple outward as we give thanks and praise to all the directions, east, south, west, and north, above and below, the 0 point within, as well as our direct connection to source energy. So we give thanks and praise to all the animals and the plants and the stone beings and the tree people, all the sentient life that we share space with on this planet, as well as all of our galactic guides and well ancestors and spirit beings who guide and support us. We give so much thanks and praise to all the people who came before that made it so we could be present in this precious moment where humanity is being offered the opportunity to elevate consciousness to a new level. It is so brilliant and so beautiful. And we thank you so much for joining us in this quest and on this path.
Ashe.
Sure.
It was beautiful. So, with that as a closing ceremony, I think we are complete to wrap this up for today. I want to thank you again for just pairing up with me and working on this project together. This was beautiful. I'm looking forward to doing more together and bringing more to you in the collective. So be sure to check out both of our pages. You can check out Wild over at Wildly Tarot. I will be sure to add the links at the end of this, and you can check me out on my page, Zay-P the I Am. We're both admins in the ZayNYC group. Also, if you're on YouTube, be sure to just check both of us out. As I mentioned the names, Zay-P the I Am, Wildly Tarot. And we will be back with more installments in the future. And we just look forward to joining with you all in the collective as we continue to expand this process and offer more of this potentiality to others in our field.
So much gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is beautiful. Have a good night or good afternoon or good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Beautiful. And with that, I will end and we will